so we are recording. So we're going to start out with this. I'm actually just going to highlight this. The 7 Habits activity is something I do with my grad school students. There will be prizes at the end of this session, and somehow I'm going to tie in your responses to being able to win the prizes. I haven't fully figured out how I'm going to do that yet, but this is something that, especially if you work with professional development, work with teachers, I really love using this because I start out all of my grad classes with it. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teachers Who Use Technology. Has anyone ever seen this before? All right, it circulated around in a couple of blogs a couple of months ago, and I'll go down so you can see all 7 of them. What I always ask my students to do is to identify 2 things, their strength and their weakness. So if you also bring yourself, through using my links there, bring yourself to this page, take a look sometime today while we're together at all 7 of them. And we're going to have the people that win the prizes at the end give us their 2 things, which one they would consider as their strength and which one they would say is their weakness that they need to work on more. And I think that self-reflection is really great when it comes to comfort levels of technology. So I recommend that you do this kind of activity too, as just an icebreaker anytime you're dealing with teaching teachers or people that might not be real comfortable with technology. So I call that the 7 Habits activity. So we'll revisit that at the end. All right, so I have to identify myself. I always say I'm a technology teacher, and the next thing people say is, well, what do you teach? Do you teach computers? Do you teach wood shop? Are you electronics? And my thing is I teach with technology and I teach about technology. I know most teachers teach with technology because they're teaching math or foreign language or science. But me, I do both. So the content of what I teach is about using computers, internet safety, multimedia production. But we have other tech teachers that teach wood shop, traditional industrial arts, AutoCAD design, and things like that. So the teaching with and teaching about technology, I span both of those there. But I know that all of us in this room here could classify ourselves as we are teachers that teach with technology. So let's look at, before we jump into the apps, the optional accessories that I've come across that I like to use with the students for iOS video production. First one is the iRig handheld microphone. And I have that here. And if you've ever recorded in a room full of students, you know that the iPad or the iPhone or the iPod, it's a unidirectional microphone built into these things. So it really will pick up everyone around the room, even if they're 20-some feet away. So there are plenty of times where you want to record in a busy room, but only record the person talking. So this little mic here, and my link there will lead you to it. I'll actually click it to show you. It takes you to Amazon. I think it's around 50 bucks or so. And it is pegged as the world's first condenser microphone specifically built for iOS devices. The reason why they can say that is the adapter itself plugs right into the headphone jack of your iOS device. It has you'll see 3 black stripes on it, which means that's Apple's way of making sure that there's a microphone built into it. It has an adjustment for sensitivity on it from low, medium, and high, which is nice because if it's a really loud room, you can lower the sensitivity. So right now it would pick me up, but if I was talking over here, it would not pick me up. So that's very handy in a room full of crowded room full of students. The cord is nice and long. You probably get about 7 or 8 feet. So if you're doing this in a newscaster situation, people could be passing the mic around and using it. And so it is one of my favorite optional accessories to use with any of the iOS devices. So that is the iRig microphone. You're talking about this? Yes, this is called the mic flag in the industry. Anytime you see a news reporter, it's just a foam block, a plastic block filled with foam, and it's blank. I just took the School Tube logo on it because I do some work with School Tube. So I have some in my classroom that are just plain white, and I have the kids use an app of their choice to make a logo for their little production company, and then they can put their logos on here, put it out on an Avery label and stick it on, or even a piece of paper and just tape it, and then they feel more professional because they have a professional looking microphone. So it's a little gimmicky. These are about 20 bucks. You can find them on Amazon and just search for mic flag, and they make them in different sizes too. A mic flag, F-L-A-G. They have 4-sided and 3-sided ones, anywhere from 2-inch to 4-inch in size. They're roughly around 20 bucks a piece. What was that? $11? Oh, pretty good. Yeah, you'll find they're all different qualities. The cheaper ones might actually fall apart because they're probably not plastic but more of like a cardboard material. But yeah, check that out. And then also you can get the foam guard too. These are usually less than $1. Our school colors are black and orange, so I have a lot of black and orange ones. But those just slip right on the top there as well. So you have a nice little professional looking microphone that does a great job in many different recording situations.
I'll make sure you do that. So when you're at home, yours is different.
That's right, yeah. It's very good. And next is, oh, notice also I have in there, no adapters are needed. And that's a good thing because some of these other mics I'm going to show you, they won't directly work without an adapter, which is not a big deal. It's just one more thing you have to buy. But the iOS mic adapter required for many mics that I have listed below is this one here from KV Connection. And I have it with me today, but this probably will give you a picture of it. Yeah, looks like that. It's just about a foot long, and it plugs in again to your headphone jack. And now it gives you the ability to plug in microphones that you might use in other situations, ones that might be for karaoke systems or gaming systems, and I have some of those listed here below. For example, the wired lavalier mic. This one is a nice one for only $18. This, I remember it used to be like $30 or $40. This one has about a 20-foot cord on it, so you can really be far away. It operates with one button battery. It has an on and off switch right there, but there is no light, no LED to let you know it's on or off. So guess what happens a lot with this one with kids? You kill that battery all the time. If they forget to turn it off, you only get about 5 or 6 continuous hours and then the battery's dead. Not a big deal because I bought these button batteries for like a dozen of them for $5 or so I have plenty of them in the drawer. I can just swap them out. But they just have to remember to turn off the mic. As teachers, we come up with little tricks. I'd like to take a little label and tape it on there that says, remember to turn me off, so that they just remember that. But this is a nice little mic for, as I said, $18 there, and it works quite well. And it does not have a sensitivity adjustment on it. I found that as long as you position it right where it would be, like where this mic is right here, right below, it does a great job of picking up just the person talking. Now, if you have 2 people, that usually comes up. I've got 2 newscasters. What do? Well, you use one of those cheap little Radio Shack adapters, a little Y adapter, probably $3 or so, and then you can use 2 of these mics, plug them into that, and then that plugs into the adapter. So if you're interested in more specifics, I have a lot of these things at the end. I'll have them out on the table here. You guys can check them out. But that is a nice option to use for lavalier style. And the advantage, of course, is they're not touching it. If they're holding this mic, they have to hold it just right. If all of a sudden it goes down lower and then they're talking and it's like this, you'll have varying levels of audio. And that is a big concern for me, especially with middle school kids. But with the lavalier mic, you clip that on and they forget about it. They can just talk and look whichever way and move around, and it's just always in the same spot. So that's an advantage of having a clip-on mic in that situation. Next I have for you is the Rode Video Mic Shotgun Mic. This is on my wish list. I don't own this yet, but hopefully I will eventually. I'm going to try to see if my school will purchase it. The cost is a little bit higher up. We're talking $149. But the purpose of a shotgun mic, who knows? Anybody know? I heard some video people in the room. Shotgun, yeah, it's very directional. So it'll work for a far distance. Like I could probably pick up most of the people in the back row there if I was pointing it directly that way. And if I just let it go off axis, it won't pick it up anymore. So it really picks up the sound of whatever it's pointing to. So that's handy in a situation where maybe you're recording an auditorium presentation, a graduation day, a moving up day, that kind of thing, where you're far away. You can point it directly at what it needs to record. And as you can see, it has the little adapter that plugs in. This, because it only has 2 black stripes on it, I can't move it there. Actually, there's my pointer here. If you notice, it has two black stripes. That means by itself it would not work with iOS devices, because Apple's kind of funny that way. But if you get the iOS mic adapter, which I don't know if they have a close-up on this, you can't see it, but there are 3 lines right on the end of that. That means it's acceptable for Apple devices. So in many cases you'll need this adapter to work with that clip-on mic or that shotgun mic to have that work correctly. That's just one of those funny Apple things. The way they designed it, it requires that. So that is what I have for microphone recommendations. There are plenty more. If you just search Amazon for iOS microphone or iPhone microphone, I'm sure you'll find plenty more. But those are the ones that I've seen or tried myself that work quite well. Now on to some stands and tripods. The handy holder. This is nice. This is an American-made invention and product. It works universal across any tablet manufacturer, any size, mini or full size, because all it is, as you can see, is it's a Velcro strap around your hand. And let's see if they have any more pictures here. I have it in my laptop bag too, if anyone's interested in seeing more of this later. I guess they don't have it, but it rotates too. So you can put it, it works on a Velcro strip, kind of like in New York State we have Easy Pass in the Thruway. It has that real heavy-duty industrial Velcro, and they claim it would take 135 pounds of pressure to rip that off. So I demonstrate it all the time. I have the iPad on, I'm wearing it, and I just move my hand around like this, and it does not fall off. It never has. It's very strong. you have to remove it by angling it down on a tabletop and push one side, and it kind of pops off. So it's nice because, they're kind of showing it there, you can rotate it at any angle, it sticks on the back, and if you suddenly now have an iPad mini versus a full-size iPad, you don't have to worry about the sizing feature, like these clamshell cases that have to be for a specific one. So it makes it more universal. And it even can go around your leg. I hear a lot of pilots that use iPads in the cockpit. They buy this, put it around their leg, and now their iPad's attached to their leg. And in fact, one of my administrators says he wants to get 2 of them so he can have 2 iPads on his legs and walk around and just be doing email and stuff like that. So I'd like to see that happen. It'd be interesting. But that was his idea when I showed him this here. So this is roughly around $39 for that, and it's called the Hand E Holder. Next is the iPivo perch stand. I have that right now. I'm holding up my iPad that I'll be using in a little bit. I like this. It comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. Small is more for a tabletop, like the style here. Medium is so that you could be sitting at a chair and it kind of come off the floor a little bit. And tall would be more like what you're seeing there for a podium style. And I guess a lot of automobile showrooms have these to like put next to the vehicle, and that's like the way of doing advertisements there, is having an iPad nearby. But here's the 3 sizes. The only thing that's different is the length of this aluminum rod, which is probably the part that makes it expensive. So it is $49 to start. iPivo, I believe, is here in the exhibit hall. So if you want to check out more of their products for iPad and stuff, they have a lot of good stuff. But I do like using that stand. In fact, I bought 2 of them, so I could leave one at school and one at home and not have to bring it back and forth each day. So that is, and I think it's only for iPad 4 and older. For the newest iPad out there, they tell me they don't yet have a case that fits that. So unfortunately, I don't have any new ones, but I have all the older iPads, so it fits for that. And so that's the iPivo perch. An advantage I should mention too is the angle control, because when you're recording in video production, you want to get just that right angle. You can angle it up and down, and you can rotate it portrait or landscape. So that's another advantage of that. Next up is the iPivo video stand. This is not yet in stores, soon will be, but I have one here to show you, thanks to the people at iPivo. And it is very heavy duty. It's literally heavy. And it is, let me go to the picture page of it. Here it is right here. So it's for your iPhone or your iPod Touch. And we're typically working with iPod Touches in my school. But it's nice because it can go, again, portrait or landscape. You can adjust the angle, and it is pretty heavy duty. So if you're doing, I do video blog posts right from my desk. I'll just set it up like that, put my phone in there, and then using the front-facing camera, I can look and see myself there and adjust, where I'm sitting and stuff accordingly. And I also use the handheld mic, so I just plug that in there. So it's real easy to just do a quick video blog post because this is being held very nicely. Now that's the premium way of doing it. I don't yet even know the price on this product because it's so new. Is anybody familiar with Kickstarter? Few people. The concept of Kickstarter is when someone has an idea and they want funding, they put it as an idea on Kickstarter. And then people like me can say, yeah, I'll give you $5 or $10 or $20. And if they reach their goal, in this case I think they needed like $60,000, then they charge everybody's credit card and you pay for it. If they don't reach their goal, then nobody pays any money for it. So it's a way to like put your money where your mouth is. If you think it's like a really cool product and you want to see it happen and you want to try to get one, in this case it was, looks like with a $29 pledge, they'd give you one, and I think the retail was going to be around $49, $59 for it. So I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. I kicked in my money. Unfortunately, they didn't reach their goal, so they did not charge me the $29. But I wrote to them, I think it's even on here, and I said, hello, I'm a middle school teacher, and I use your products. I'd like to really see this. Could I buy one full price or whatever? They contacted me back, and they said, yes, we will give you one, because we know you talk about it at conferences and stuff, and they want me to get the hype going. So I was able to get one. If anybody wants to try it again, and today you could put your device in there and see how nice and sturdy it is. And that makes a nice stand for video production stuff for iPhones or iPods. And that's the iPivo video stand. It's probably going to have a different name. That's just, there was in beta what they called it. Now, if you don't have the money and you want to get something that does what this last one did, you can get the cheap tabletop tripod. I have about 20 of these in my room. And in fact, it's usually like $1, but like $5 shipping. Amazon does like weird things like that. So somewhere around the $5 or $6 range, you can get one of these guys. This is a ball joint here, so you can adjust it for the correct angle. And then this is a spring-loaded piece. So you just slide in your little iOS device, of course just iPod or iPod Touch or iPhone, and that becomes a nice other way to record too. So I have those. They break often. The top piece jumps off, but for only $5 or so, we could just buy replacements every year or so. And then next we go to the iShot tripod mount. This is for iPad. I have this with me, but I didn't bring the tripod, but I can show you the pictures at least of how it works. Again, a nice idea here, because if you suddenly now buy a different iPad model years down the road, especially iPad mini versus full size, it doesn't matter. You can still use this, because the way it works is it's one bar, and you can adjust where these are positioned on there. So it's kind of collapsible. And that's what it looks like from the front view. It holds it on the corners. And that's what it looks like from the back view. So it's adjustable. I like those kind of options, because then you're not locked in when the manufacturer decides, when Apple decides to change the size of the case. So this one works quite well. I've used this in phys ed situations, in music situations, even when I had kids doing presentations and I wanted to record them. It was just a way to turn my iPad into a camcorder and take that role, because I wanted it to be on a tripod and be able to pan and zoom, or not zoom, but pan across. And that worked nicely by having it on a tripod. And the cost on that is $39.95. And the boomerang. This is a local Western New York teacher, middle school teacher. He created this, and he actually owns the patent to have an iPad positioned as a document camera and have a sheet of paper underneath it. And what he did, so big companies like Belkin have to pay him big bucks. So it's pretty, I guess it's like $40,000 or $50,000 to get a patent. But once you have that, anybody that makes a similar product has to pay you for it. So I guess it's a worthwhile investment. But as you can see, it's 3 different pieces that go together. There's the iPad sitting on top. And now you put your piece of paper underneath, and it just simply is a stand so that you can use your iPad as a document camera. And if you already are doing this wirelessly, it's nice. But even if not, if you have the cable connected to it, it serves as just a way to hold your iPad up like that. I've heard of science teachers using the ring stands for chemistry teachers to just use the same idea as a cheap way to do it. But this is more of a wide way so that it's more guaranteed so the iPad doesn't fall off the ring stand. So he just built it with 3 different pieces, and that is called the boomerang. I think the cost is somewhere around $50 or so. And they're made right in Niagara Falls, New York. So it's American invented and produced right here too. And that's the boomerang. Any questions on stands, tripods, microphones, any of those things that apply to any video app? All right, moving on. We have now our first app to look at. And this one I just came across within the past month. In fact, I didn't even have this on the outline until a couple days ago. How many people are concerned about kids using copyrighted music in their productions? All right, that's a very gray area, and I can't give you the legal advice here. But I'll tell you what I tell my middle school students and the grad students. When we make projects, I allow them to use music that they've obtained from iTunes, as long as it is being used for a non-for-profit use. I tell them, if we were going to put this on a CD and sell that maybe someday, then we'd have a problem. But because we're making it in school, part of a learning process, and it's going into our daily morning show, we can use copyrighted music if we follow the Fair Use Act. So we never use the full duration of the song, we just have a segment of it. And we make sure that they understand the difference between your intent. Your intent is not to profit off of somebody else's work. So when I don't want to do that, if it's a project where I say, you know what, we're not using any copyrighted music, I'm always on the search for that royalty-free stuff. This app here called Free MP3 for YouTube, and this is the iTunes link. I came across this about a month ago, and it allows you to pick from songs that were made by people on a website. And the website is called, let's see if they have it in here. How do I get to see more? I gotta go over. I forget what the name is of it. Oh, Music Shake. So musicshake.com is a website that you can go to and make music, make tracks of, pick your drums, pick your guitar, pick your piano, and just make music. And then what they do is they allow you to save that so then other people across the world can access those songs through this app. So they literally have tens of thousands of different songs to choose from. So you really get a good variety of things. And I'm going to show you the app here in a moment so you can see the different genres to pick from. And this one is free. It's called Free MP3 for YouTube because apparently the use case is to put something on YouTube, you got to make sure it's not copyrighted music, so this is a way to do it. But we don't use YouTube at all in our school, so it gets a little confusing that kids are like, well, I thought we can't use YouTube. Yeah, we're not. It's just the name of the app. The intent of it is good, but we're just using it to get royalty-free stuff. So let me now, this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to switch over to my iPad. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so you're looking at my iPad screen now. And I need, where is it? There it is, free MP3 for YouTube. So now imagine, oh, it's going to do this, okay. If I do my rotate, this might not rotate because I'm doing it this way. Let's try it. Turn off the lock. Yeah, on my screen here it is, but okay, so you guys are just going to have to look at it sideways. Sorry about that. But the way it works is in this workflow, we would have already produced our video project. It could have speaking and talking in it, but we have not scored it yet. We have not chosen any music for it yet. It's just maybe a person talking. Or there's nobody talking and it's just a photo slideshow. What we would do first is go to Video Select. Oh, this is just a little, okay, got it. Just a little, now we can use it. Video Select. We're going to go to our camera roll and choose our finished production. In fact, I'll choose something from the airport yesterday that we made. I got a little 20-second clip here that we made, and I'm gonna score that. I'm gonna put music on that. So choose it. Now we go to Song Select, and we get to pick. Is it from the Music Shake library, which has those hundreds of thousands of copyright-free stuff, or the iPod library, which is what's the music we've purchased through iTunes that's on our device. So we're gonna choose the Music Shake library, and look at all the options you now have. You can use the browsing assistant, which lets you choose by tempo, genre, or mood. And you can choose more than one. You can say, I want something that is jazz, and I want it to be, let's say, comfort, lonesome, calm, and leisurely, and fresh and gentle. So I don't even know what's going to come up here. So anything that's tagged with that will say Get Songs. And now you get a whole bunch to choose from. Let's preview some of them. Let's line up on this. I don't have it plugged in, so I don't know if we can... Probably very down tempo, not really exciting music, but let's say sure, that sounds good. We'll choose that. Hit choose, preview it now with your pre-made video clip and the music blended together. Here's what it does. Oh, you know what? The reason why you're not hearing me there is because of this at the bottom. See this slider? If you change the volume, now this is all talking, no music, and this is all music, no talking. So if we go somewhere in the middle, now preview it, and it should give us both.
Hi everybody, it's Rob Z, and today I'm going to show you our Tech TV studio. Let's begin.
I already had music in that track, so you're hearing both music playing.
And now you're seeing the newscaster guys hit.
So it doesn't normally sound that bad, but my video pick already did have music in it. So you'd want to make sure whatever you produce in whatever app you use, iMovie, Videolicious, Coach's Eye, any of the apps we're going to use, make sure you produce that with no music. And then you can bring it into this app and add your music to it and have all those choices to use also. So again, there's a lot of different choices in here. I'll let you guys explore that today if you're curious on that. It's supported by advertisements, so that's why it's free, so just be aware of that. I did once in a while see something that was a little questionable in terms of an app or an advertisement on the bottom, so I know some schools are sensitive to that, so just be aware of that fact. Question in the back, yes? Yeah, let's see what we have. We could share. So after we make it, we can save it to the photo roll, the camera roll. That's usually my preference. Or we can set it directly to YouTube. It would ask you then to log in, or also to Facebook. And so those are your options. Most of the, I would say 99% of the time, I just hit Save to Photos, and then it drops it onto your camera roll, and then you can do what you wish with it from there. Yep, and it confirms that also. So any questions on that one? Free MP3 for YouTube. How many people think they could use that? All right, good, yeah. And there's always more because people are making songs all the time. In fact, the little star at the top that's blinking there, if I touch that, I think what it does, it crashed out. What it's supposed to do is go and show you the newest songs out there. Yeah, tap to receive your free MP3 of the day. So they're always adding more to it. So I don't think a student could say with this one, you know, I can't find something. I think if you just keep looking, look in the right genres, you'll be able to find something that fits the mood of the production that you're working on. And it did switch it. Okay. All right, so any other questions, ideas on that one? Yes? You could, because what you make is then going to sit on your camera roll. So then you go into Keynote and import your media from the camera roll. So that would work in that workflow. And I like the fact, too, that you can choose with a slider at the bottom. You know, if you were talking really quietly, you would want to make sure that that slider is down more at this level as compared to here. Or if you have students that, the audio is just not that good and you want to eliminate the audio, just slide it all the way up to song and it instantly takes out all of the speaking. It would be just the music. Yes, question? Yeah, and it's very difficult to find. Ah, okay. If you can, if you can use my link off that, you'll get right to it. Because there's a lot of other apps that have MP3 and YouTube and free in them, so it's kind of hard to find that way. Any other questions on this app before I move on? All right, we are on to our next thing here. Yeah, now it rotated the right way. Okay, so we're going to go back to this way. Okay, we will minimize that. And back to the outline. All right, so we got our purpose. We said app is free, but again, use your discretion. Oh yeah, that's what I saw was meet singles near you. I saw an advertisement for Match.com in there. And I'm thinking, some teachers or maybe some board members are going to see that and be like, we don't want our students seeing that. So you have to always take that into consideration with these free apps that are readily available for us teachers to use. So now on to the next big one. iMovie app, as you may or may not know, this one is supported by Apple. This is made by Apple, so this is the big granddaddy of all apps when it comes to video production. It can do a lot. It is $4.99 unless you buy a brand new Apple device where they're giving it out to you for free. And you have basically two different paths you can go down. So let me ask this question. How many of you have used iMovie to make a movie trailer before? The iMovie app. Okay. How many have used iMovie to make a traditional timeline-based production? All right, so about the same number. Okay, so we have some familiarity with that. I will go through the workflow with you just to give you the kind of the basics on that, but I like to always start out with the finished productions first, so you can see actual products that were made by us for using this app. So first one I have is our Tech TV promo. The purpose behind this one was I was applying for a grant, and I needed to showcase what we do in our Tech TV program. So I made a movie trailer out of it. Let's see if this is going to stream just right though. Less than 10 minutes to make this, once you have the footage. It's going to stream though, so it might be choppy. Let's do this. Just to avoid that, I'll pause it and let it buffer. Let's try again. Let's start at the beginning. There we go. And of course, it's slowing down. Yeah, you see those mics in there? Yep. All right, let me just pause it then. See if I can let it buffer a little bit more. The next one I had after that to show you was a family vacation room, yes. And someone in this room is also in this one. My sister-in-law, Elaine's sitting there. Yeah, and she didn't know I was going to do this either, so I didn't ask, so I did that. This one I think is on YouTube, so... That's right, yeah, you're supposed to ask. That's what we teach the kids, that's right. Now this is coming from YouTube, so this will buffer much nicer. So again, same idea. I chose a bunch of random clips that I had, less than 10 minutes to put this together, and I get to credit Apple for doing the titles and the music and the transitions all blended in nicely. So it looks like you're a media producer that knows what you're doing, but as long as you just know the basics of the app, Apple makes you look pretty good. So here we go with this one. Yes.
We'll go for a Christmas tree.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So that was made with the movie trailer feature. Let's see if we can go back to our Tech TV promo from before. Where did I put that? Right here. Finish watching that one. So I kind of thought we had it in the bag. We'll get the grant. Showing them that didn't work. Didn't get the grant, but at least it was a good learning experience for the kids and everybody involved because we were able to take some random footage and tell a story without using anyone talking. And that I think is one of the big skills to get students to be able to do is tell us a story, but don't say a word. So it has to be all conveyed through the pictures, through the videos, and through the music. If it's all done just right, you can be a good digital storyteller and get the message conveyed. So that was a good project for that. I have other ones I could show you now, but I want to kind of get into it. But one is when we went bowling, again, with a family thing, and then miniature golf. And yes, I have the Christmas tree in there and the maple sugar farm and all other ones there because it is quite simple. While I'm there and I got my iPhone, I just take 5-second snippets of video and take pictures. And then I know on the car ride home, as long as I'm not driving the car, I can just throw together a little movie trailer in a matter of minutes and then throw it up on Facebook or YouTube and then people can see that. So. Probably not easily accessible here. In a little bit I can check and see though, because I might be able to get into the home network. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. You can do stills, right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. That's right. Right. Yeah, in fact, let's see. I think that's on YouTube there. I might be able to show you that one here. I got ice skating. The Girl Scouts thing we did. Actually, I don't have it here, but I'll see if I can find it later when we get some time. But there's a lot of different ways to use this to make those productions. So I want to actually put one together now for you, so you can see that. So let's switch back over to the iPad. Go a little bit bigger here. Now I do have to give a little warning here. This might crash out. The app I'm using, by the way, if you're wondering how am I putting my iPad, because it's wireless, onto my laptop, I'm doing that with an app called Air Server. This is a MacBook, or a Mac desktop laptop app called Air Server, and that runs about $10. And the trick is, as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network with your iOS device and your laptop, as long as same network, they can see one another and you can demonstrate from the iOS device onto your screen. And of course, this laptop is hooked up the traditional way to the LCD projector. So that's correct. It's a way to get around using Apple TV. It could be Windows or Mac. Yep. In fact, that's a good point I should bring up here. Let me switch back to that. Because there's actually two. There's Reflector and Air Server. So let me show you. It's probably Air Server. Let's search that on Google. It's maybe Air Server. Well, they're two different products, two different companies. They usually both work the same, around the same cost. But this is Air Server that I prefer, airserver.com. And it works on Mac or PC. And they're big, of course, in education. So that is a wireless way to get it to your desktop. Now, I have my teachers at Amherst, they want to do that all the time. So we're new to having iPads in the classroom. However, we all have Windows desktop machines hardwired to the network. So this doesn't work because you got to have the desktop or laptop has to be on a wireless network. So it's kind of like in our situation, we got the old desktop computers and the newer iPads. It doesn't really work. You got to have a laptop or a desktop that has a network card inside of it. So if you're lucky to have your main presentation computer being a laptop, you're good to go. You're already wireless so that that can work. Yes? You know what, they changed it, so let's check. Okay. I used to use... Okay. So this is the other competing product, Reflector. It used to be called Reflection, I think, or something. They changed the name. Yeah, within the past year they changed the name. But they both do the same thing. They both have Mac and Windows support, but you have to be on the same wireless network. Now, even if you're on the same wireless network, no guarantee that's going to work, because most school networks are so tightly managed that ports and the real technical stuff, it's blocked. So even though you're on the same network, you're like, how come it's not seeing each other? Well, they may have configured the network to not allow it. So my hack is to use my own personally owned iPhone 5, turn this into a mobile hotspot like I have it right now. And now this is providing the Wi-Fi for all of my wireless devices. So for my iPad and my MacBook, I use my own network. So I bring my own network to school and I use that. I know that's not feasible for all teachers to do because not everybody has a smartphone and knows how to do the hotspot feature. But in a pinch, that is my way of giving myself a Wi-Fi network that's fully open, that I set the password on so nobody else can get into it. So that's a workaround. Yeah, both of them do have free trials, yes. So if you want to try it, nothing to lose there. Download it and try it and see if it does work. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yes. And that's why I switched from Reflector, because I was having a lot of crashes. So I said, I'll try the other one, because I knew that the Williamsville schools use that. And so far, so good. And they both were updated for iOS 7, because that changed the whole game a lot. And there's a known issue that Apple is not really willing to recognize. If you have an iPad 3, 2, or 1, actually no, just 3 or 2, which I have, after 5 times of connecting, it no longer will connect. So anybody else experience that? I see someone nodding their head. Yeah. So the workaround is turn off and back on your iPad, and then it works again. And it's the same thing if you're using the Apple TV device. The same phenomenon happens. So if you're using an iPad 3 or 2, you may experience that. Maybe even the iPad 4 might be too. But I know if you have the newest one, everything is fine because it works nicely. So hopefully that's something that has been rumored to be fixed in the next iOS update, which would be 7.0.4, I think, which will hopefully within the next month or two coming out. It's rumored on the Apple forums that will fix it. But just be aware of that. If all of a sudden you're connecting, you're like, hey, it worked a minute ago. How come it's not working now? Power off and back on again the iPad, and then you're good to go. That's why I did that in the beginning of today. I did that to deal with that issue. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. For a number of reasons, that's a good workflow anyways to do. Same thing if you're iPhone users, because it helps with the cellular network too, to fully turn it off and on again. But that is a known kind of hidden issue that hopefully they're going to fix by the next iOS update. Oh, really? Oh, so maybe it's out already. I know that they call it the 4th version of the beta for that was released last week. And they say usually when Apple releases the 4th version of any beta, it's pretty much ready for public use. So maybe it did come out. That'd be good. I'll have to check that in a little bit too. Yeah, you might not notice a lot, but yeah, it's like one of those. Yeah. So maybe then it's 05 is the new one coming out then. Whatever the numbered next one is, yeah. All right, so my workflow now was going to be demonstrating to you how to throw together an iMovie movie trailer. When you first launch the app, you're brought to this area, and notice at the top you have video, projects, and theater. So if you're not in the middle one of projects, you would go there. I don't have anything done. I erased it all just to save space. So we're going to hit the plus button, which is right up there in the corner. I've got to hit the right screen. And I like this, and this is the new version. They give you right off the bat, which option do you want to take. So I want to take the one where I'm making a movie trailer. And they have around 14 or so different themes. If you're wondering what they look like, it's nice because you can watch it. So let's say, what does retro look like? You just play it. And they'll give us some sample footage in here so we can get an idea. So this is built-in sample footage. It also really, this app is like almost close to a gigabyte, I think, because of all the sample footage they have in there. Just be aware of that. If you don't have it and you're going to install it, it's going to take some time to install. It's a very big app. But I'll stop it there. We get the idea. You can preview any of these with the sample footage in there to see what it looks like. And let's say we want to go with, I like the adrenaline one. Let's go with that one. So we hit Create Trailer up in the corner to take it. And it brings us to the outline view. In the outline view, you would put in pertinent information. You could give it a name. So instead of off-road, which is the sample one there, just tap it, and we can call it something else. Say it's FETC demo. Done. And then your studio name, mine just goes Amherst Tech TV, put in your school name, whatever. The logo style is what opens up like the first 3 seconds has like one of these little opening, yeah, so they give you the preview, like the different styles there. So that's just like a little 3-second pre-roll that goes before it. So you can change that style if you like. And then if you want to put in the information here about that stuff, it defaults to just me for everything, but you can put your specific names in there. If you got a group of kids working, it's nice because they can actually learn what are these different jobs, what do they do, and you can have that conversation there. And it puts it in the closing credits. Then onto the main part here, you would go to the other tab, which is Storyboard. And in the Storyboard view, it suggests to you what kind of shots to put in. So anywhere that you see a grayed out image like that, it says here this is a 0.8 seconds worth of a shot, and they're suggesting that you go with a group shot. On the tab right here, the Storyboard, I think the default it goes to the Outline tab. So go to the Storyboard tab. Or do we have to go farther back? Did you get that far?
So you want to fill out the information and you put Storyboard.
That's right. Yep. And so here you can go through and choose your shots. Now if I was doing a story about, say, the Tech TV program again, and I might want, you don't really have to follow group-wide medium, it's just a suggestion, but maybe I'll start with a shot that has 2 kids in it. If I want to go with this shot here with Drew and Jason in the picture, notice you get a little like segment, like this segment right here would be exactly 0.8 seconds. And if you want to say, well, what's that going to look like? Hit the little play button that's right there, and it'll show you a snippet. That's the segment of Drew was walking. So I say, you know what, I don't like that. He was walking kind of funny. Let's go back to maybe in the beginning where they're both standing there. Now play that, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So now to take it, we hit the little return arrow there, and you'll see it drops it in place like so. And that's the workflow. You just go through, dropping in the clips that you choose to, and there's probably 30 or so in here. You can see there are going to be 20 some in here. They're all different. Some of them are longer depending on how many people you put in the outline. Some of them will have like a actor 1, actor 2, actor 3. So you can selectively put people's names in, and if you went with all 3 actors, when you switch over to the storyboard view, you'll see there's more choices to put in there too. So they've really made it very customizable. Now imagine I put all of my images in there, or my either images or video clips, either or can go in these spots. Then I want to tell the story through short blurbs of text. They already have them in here, like they traveled to the Andes, to one of the most exclusive races in the world. So this is where you would say, no, this has nothing to do with that. I could click there and say they traveled to, and then we could say Amherst Middle School. And it's what you see, what you see is what you get. You can hit play there, and there's a play there, I guess, done. And you can see the little shot of what it looks like as it scans through it. So as you're going, it's fun to kind of watch the build take place. You might decide that, you know, I kept using the shot with two guys in it too much. I'm going to change my mind, flip it out, put different ones in. They make it very fluid like that, so you're really not locked in as you go. Yes? There's not, no. And the reason being is the music times out to the length of these shots. So when like the boom of the drum, you know, hits in the music, it's timed out to match up with that. So that is somewhat of a limitation how they've locked that down. Any other questions on the workflow of making a movie trailer? Yes. The clips to go down. All right, so I'll pick that, and then I just tapped the one. I tapped right on the one that I wanted. So now I'll tap on that one.
When you tap on the play side, it plays all of the clips?
Yep, it opens up the media bin down here, and it's sorted right now by all. And I'll show you that sorting options are, this is new, they didn't have this before, newest first or oldest first. So if I went to oldest first, it changes the order of my clips, which might be chronologically the way that I took them, which might be actually nicer than newest first. So you can choose how you're looking at it, oldest or newest. You also have the option to pick only the ones unused that I have not used yet. So that's a way to filter it down nicely. So you could say, you know, I don't want to see the ones so I don't make repeats. I want to find new ones in there. Choose unused. And favorites has to do with when you're outside of this part of the app, you can go through all the media on your camera roll and heart it and favorite it, just as a way to organize your most favorite shots you took before you jump into the production process, which could be helpful if you have lots of kids and lots of shots on that iPad. Before they jump into this phase, have them select their favorites first. So then they can say, show me my favorites only, and this list would then be narrowed down to only the shots that they pre-chose before they started this process. That might be an organizational thing that could be helpful. And when it's all done, you get to just simply go back, and it will then exist on this finished page. It gives you the duration, when it was made, and you have your play it, your share it, and your delete it options. Your share it options are numerous. The new thing they have now is iMovie Theater. That really works well with the Apple TV device especially. But you can see you have your social media sites. You can mail it, but I don't know if it mails an entire thing. Usually there's a limit to like 50 seconds or 60 seconds maximum video. It will mail the whole thing? Yeah. Oh wow, okay. So they changed that because before they wouldn't let you do that. My usual routine is to go right here, save video, and then it drops it on the camera roll, and then I'll go and use the Edmodo app or the YouTube app or whatever, or Facebook to put it wherever I want it. But that is the options you have to share it. Any other questions, ideas, concerns? All right. So now we went down that road. We'll look at the more traditional way of doing things here, which is using a timeline. So again, I'll go to Projects, New, and this time I'm going to make a movie on a timeline. Now, new in this version of iMovie, right off the bat, they have you pick one of the themes. You don't have to use the theme. You could have these features turned off, but just in case you want them, it's a nice way to have lower third graphics, side graphics, music, transitions, things like that. So I'll just pick the first one of modern. I'll show you an example of what it looks like. So it puts an opening shot there, that transition you just saw. We're probably going to have some lower third stuff, transition, and so that's part of the theme. And the music also was part of that theme. So we'll say we like it. We'll go up again to the top, Create Movie, and we have a traditional timeline view to look at. Now this probably, once you get the hang of it, is not really that difficult. But at the beginning, sometimes people are like, okay, what do I do first? So iMovie is trying to help you here by giving you some information to tap either video, photos, or audio to insert media. If you want to record something right now, you can use the live camera. And if you need help, the help system is pretty good. But if your students are like my students, 7th and 8th graders, they're not too keen about looking through help and getting solutions. They just want to get the right answer right away, but I don't give it to them. I tell them I'd be a bad teacher if I did that. So I have them use the help feature if it's something I know that's built into the help there. So let's say in my opening shot, I want to have something of the TV studio. I can play it right in the selector bin area. And I can say, yeah, that's a good shot, but you know what? I don't need that whole thing. I just want like the first couple seconds of it. And notice it's showing me right there. It's hard to see it, but it's telling me how long that clip is. Let's say I want the first 3 seconds or so. I can go about there and then hit that arrow to drop it into the timeline. And it magically puts it in there. Now, if you're not seeing the little waveform audio at the bottom here, you won't see it in the beginning. That's an option you turn on right there. Notice it's blue. So that I like it because I like to see where the music is. And now I'm using my fingers to pinch and zoom. I'm just stretching it now so that it's wider and I can see more of that waveform. If I start having lots of clips on the timeline though, I can manually pinch it down. Notice I'm not changing the length of the clip. It's still staying at 3 seconds, but I can condense it down so it's easier to see the whole thing, or really spread it out if I want to be able to look at it frame by frame. And you can use your finger and scrub right across. Luckily, I would say 9 times out of 10, it does not crash. I think that's why this is definitely an Apple app, because they want to make sure that their stuff works well as compared to a third-party app. So you can find this to be pretty reliable. You can scrub, you can play, and it can keep up. And I'm using an iPad 3 here, by the way, too. So if you have a newer one, it's probably going to be even more perky and really not fall behind when it comes to playing video clips. So time to put in the next video clip after that. Let's say I want a shot of the guy at the teleprompter. I'm going to drop in this whole clip, put it right in there, and that one was that one was probably about 10 seconds long, so that's really long. I'm going to pinch it down here again so I can visually see how that first clip compares to the second. Notice that second was much longer. This time though, I'm going to tap on it once, and I'm going to find the segment I want. Let's say I want to end it right there. I like how you can tap directly on the clip, and notice it turned yellow around it, and then I'm going to go to, I'm going to split it. So down here I'm going to hit video, and I have some options here of what I can do with it. Some of these options are brand new to this version of iMovie. I'm going to hit the one that says split. They call it split right there. So split, and you can see it dropped it now into two separate clips. So what I can do now is delete this one I don't want, tap that, and then hit the trash can down there, and now that's gone. So I was able to trim on the timeline or trim up in the media bin either way. You have that ability, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. Sure, yep, let's throw a third clip in here. We'll take Morgan doing the weather here. I'll drop the entire clip on the timeline. I notice, yeah, that's way too long. This time I'm going to get like somewhere in the middle. So let's say starting there I'm going to single tap on that clip so it's selected now. And you see the yellow bars that indicates it's selected. And now make sure you're on the video area because we have video and audio. And I'm going to go here to split right in the middle. By hitting split, it split it there. I'll go in here, tap it, and split it again. So now I can get rid of the segments I don't want. And watch this too. I think this will work. I'm going to touch and hold. I'm holding my finger on this, bring it up and away, let it go, and poof into smoke. It goes away. So you don't have to hit the little delete trash can. Touch and hold the clip, drag it out of the timeline, and it disappears. So that's a nice little handy way to do it as well. Now we should talk transitions. Notice between the clips are these things here. Those are your transitions, and you can see this is a simple dissolve between the two. If you don't want that, you can tap on it, and you have options here down at the bottom. And let's see, which one do I want to try? I'll try this one. Now, let's see, will it apply it? This one was a slide away transition. So if you want to change those transitions, just tap right on them, and you have them appearing at the bottom there. A couple to experiment with. You can even change the length of that transition, if there's sound on it, and there are some other settings there too that we haven't seen yet. Oh, these are the project settings overall. So if I wanted the theme music to be on, I could turn that on now. Fade in from black, fade out to black, and the last one I recommend leaving, speed changes pitch. So now, watch when I play it, you'll have some music.
Mr. Farina's 6th period class.
Although it's really not that loud.
In the high 80s. And Sundance by the...
Now I should add a photo here to show you what happens. This is really cool when it comes to audio. I'll just add whatever I have here. That was an echo. There it goes. So I'm going to photo, and then I'm going to come back after that, and I'll just drag this clip back. I'm going to rearrange this clip and put it after it. What I just wanted to do there was sandwich a photo between video and listen to the audio, what happens with it. This is called rubber banding, and sometimes it's referred to as.
Mr. Farina's 6th period class. In the high 80s. And Sundance.
Notice it came up automatically, and watch, now it's going to go down. So when you have a photo, it knows to automatically raise up the volume, and the photo's over, lower it back down again. So it does that for you automatically, which is nice. And they call that sometimes rubber banding. If you wanted even more, I'm just showing the basics, but if you wanted even more, you could tap it, find a certain spot where you want to split that clip, I think, right? Is that how that worked? Because I was able to control up and down. I think I just had to split the clip to do that. Maybe more. Yeah, split. So I could split that clip. Now I could say, this one here, I want it to be really loud, and this one here, I want it to be really low. So you do have that ability, if need be, to really change it as you wish that way by changing the volume as well. So there's really a whole lot we could get into here. I'm not going to, this really could be a whole 3-hour workshop just on this app alone. So I showed you the basics. If you're interested in more, the best way to do it really is to just play with it. But if you're more of an instruction kind of person, which I am, I like the help button up there because you can go into that area and get very specific in-context help. This will show you right off the bat what all the buttons do. And then when you want to know more about it, I believe you can tap onto it. Is that how I did it? No. Maybe tap it a second time. Oh, at the bottom, more help. So you go there for more help. And then you get to the fully featured iMovie help, which is really very in-depth. So any questions on the traditional timeline-based mode of video production? Yes. For help, start by going to there, and that'll bring up the contextual help for buttons on the screen. And if you want more, go right there to more help, and you will get the, I think you have to actually be online for this too, because this is always updated, and the help there. So say we're creating a movie, you then have a lot of options there, maybe working with themes, you want to learn about that, it'll dig a little deeper, and then it'll dig even deeper from there. So it is pretty well done. I went through this to learn what's new about this version, because when iOS 7 came out, they updated this app. Last year, it was a different version of it. Another question? Yep.
And I'm going to question is when you mentioned the clip that has a teleprompter for a have you ever used the iPad and iPad teleprompter, which you can buy like off of Amazon? So basically it turns your iPad into the teleprompter and it sets the camera behind it like a glass screen.
I have this app I like, Teleprompt Plus. This one is a teleprompter as well as a recorder. So it is, you don't need any extra hardware to do this. Let's see if I can launch this here. Start. Gettysburg Address we got here. I don't know if I have the camera turned on or not, but yeah, so you can kind of see me in the background there. So I could hit record and say, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth, so blah, blah, blah. And then you can use your finger to go faster. I could even use another device with the remote control on it, maybe off camera with my thumb, and control the speed of it, pause it, or whatnot. So this is a teleprompter app that has recording capability built into it. That one's called Teleprompt Plus. Right at the top, right there is the name, Teleprompt Plus. Not cheap. I think it's like $10, $10 or $15. So in the world of apps, it's kind of expensive. But I found it to be the industry standard. In fact, I contacted the app developers and I asked them if they could build in some green screen capability, because I used to do Adobe Visual Communicator was the product that I presented a lot at FETC in years past. Unfortunately, Adobe doesn't carry it anymore or support it anymore, but we use that for all of our morning newscasts. And I said, if you could get your app, Teleprompt Plus, to have green screen capability, it could almost be like what we used to do on the Windows desktop. But they said that's probably now with the iPad 5 they could do it, because the horsepower is there, the processor can handle it, but at the time it couldn't. But does that kind of answer your question then? So that might be one to explore, is Teleprompt Plus. And there's other free ones out there in the App Store, because all the time I have my students say, hey, can I use my device as a teleprompter instead of printing out a sheet of paper? And I say, yeah, go ahead and pick the app of your choice. I can't remember now on the top of my head what those names were, but just search for a free teleprompter app and you'll find plenty of them in there as well. What's nice too is this one ties in with Google Docs, and all of our kids use Google Docs to write their stuff up. So when you're in the app, you could just log into your Google Docs account and pull up your documents right there. So they can type them on the full-size keyboard and not be typing them on the screen here. And Siri transcription is good too. I've had kids actually say, this is my script and I want to say these words, and they just keep going, and then Siri puts the words right on there. So they could speak in their text if they want to, which is kind of neat, because before Siri it was much harder to do that. Yes? Yes. No, iMovie on the iOS does not. But yes, I actually was testing around the green screen app. I don't really like this app so much because it doesn't work really well, but it's the only one I could find on an iOS device that has green screen capability. In fact, I'll launch it. You'll see how kind of poor it is. If I turn it off, all right, we have that shot right now. I'm going to choose, hey, anything that's black in the picture is going to be chroma keyed. So now I did that and I turn it on. It shows the image of whatever I've chosen, in this case a Las Vegas clip there. Anywhere that's black in this frame, even if I move this around, you would see it shows up. It teaches someone what chroma key is. It searches for a color and it replaces just that color with a moving video clip or photo. So we experimented with that. It's kind of grainy, doesn't work real well, but it at least does a good job of teaching kids what is chroma key. How does the weatherman do his thing in front of the green screen when he does the weather on TV news? So that is another related app. Other questions, ideas, or concerns? All right, so moving on now. Let's get back to the main screen there. We're going to minimize that. And a couple of samples, again, of the timeline-based one, the tiger paws and the anti-bullying. Let's go to the anti-bullying one. This was made by our guidance counselors. They came to me with an idea. They wanted to make some sort of a video that they could put on our morning announcements. So I said, you guys have the iPad. Let's have you use the iMovie app. Have the kids figure out how to make something, because they wanted to have pictures and video and music and lower third titles like that, and I think opening graphic. So they wanted all these different things. So in my mind, I thought, okay, the end-all be-all tool is iMovie. You can put a lot of stuff together. Let's try that. So this is what they came up with.
Bullying happens everywhere. It happens in the hallways of our school, outside of school, in our neighborhoods, even at home through texting and online posts. 1 out of 4 kids in our country are bullied each month, but the story doesn't have to end there. You can help put a stop to bullying. Commit to making our school a safer place.
Join Amherst Middle School's anti-bullying club. We meet every Thursday at 8:30 in room 127, Mrs. Barnes.
Let's put an end to bullying at AMS.
Now, if you can hear, that was recorded with the built-in mic on the iPad. The teacher recording them was probably about 7 or 8 feet away. And it sounded, I mean, at least to me, I can hear it sounds hollowy, kind of like big open room effect. That's where this would really come into play. If they were using this, it would sound much more professional and crisp. You could hear every word that they're saying without that kind of hollow, echoey sound there. Now, on a side note, if you notice what I'm using here, this is Google Drive to host videos. Has anyone ever done that before? Because this looks like a YouTube video, right? It kind of looks like, because you see the red bar and it looks like it's YouTube, but this is not on YouTube. I store this video in my Google Drive account. How many people use Google Drive? Okay. Did you know this? You can store, oh, there's the LAPO one. Should I show them that? Well, it's a good case study. I could show them. If you store by uploading, right, here's the upload button, upload your video project into your Google Drive to store it there. But you get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only are you storing it there, but now you can host it there. So it's a playable video, streamable video, when you click on it, that can be watched. Let me open up. This is the preview version. It is, yes. It's exactly the same as Dropbox, but in my opinion, better, because I think there's more you can do with it. So I'm going to go here to open, so it comes up in a new tab. And this looks like it's a YouTube-style video. Of course, it's also owned by Google, but it's not. It's a Google Drive document. And that means I can use the powers of sharing to decide who gets to see this. Anyone in the world, only people that have the link, or share individually to individual people. So, and there's no advertisements, unlike YouTube. There's no suggested videos. There's no caps on bandwidth transfer, anything like that. And its storage is almost unlimited because it's so huge. So this is now, for us, the alternative to putting stuff on YouTube, because our school district blocks YouTube for all students, which I don't agree with, but that's another story. So our workaround is to put stuff in Google Drive to store it and to stream it. Now when you upload it right away, it's not going to be playable. So just be aware that it might take an hour or 2 depending on the length of the video, but eventually it is a great place to store it. Now to show you, yeah, I should do this too. Let me open this up in a new tab here. This is the place that I store all of our student-produced video projects. So we're probably talking hundreds of them now. This is a Google Drive folder that I have, and I've made subfolders for all the different projects that we do. So for example, if you saw some of our this or that shows, that's the place you would go. And I made this public on the web so people can find these and search for these. And now these are all titled by the topic. The this or that show is where kids will say, I'll get into this because I'll be covering it in the Videolicious app. They pick 2 different things. So do you like blue or pink? Do you like Bills or Sabres? Do you like beach or pool? And all they simply do is hold up a sign to indicate their choice. So kids like this kind of gimmicky stuff because like they could see, oh, there's so-and-so, and what are they going to vote for? And at the end it says what percentage won. So maybe 89% of people prefer the beach instead of pool. And this is just a little transitional piece that we make to put on a morning show so we can move the podium out of the way and like, set the stage up and stuff in between live spots. But I'll show you these projects when we talk about the Videolicious app because that's the app we use to make these. We save all these to be used on the morning show. I just save them all in Google Drive. The kids provide them to me through Edmodo. That's the transfer mechanism to get their stuff they make to me. That makes me the checks and balances guy. I get to watch it, make sure it looks okay and sounds okay. And then if I approve it, I dump it here into my collection, where then we go into this collection to pick stuff for our morning show. And taking it beyond my just little world, the guidance counselors, same idea. They make stuff, they email it to me, and I drop it here in the staff videos folder. So this is all stuff that was made by people that they just provided to me, and then we use it on the morning show. So now we can have anybody that has an iOS device, they can be our field reporters. They can go out and make stuff at home and at school on their own time and enjoy that process. And when it's done, just send it to me, and I'll check it out, and if it's good, I'll put it on the show. So now I have literally 800 kids in the building that could all be, field reporters, because a lot of them have access either to school-owned devices or to personally owned devices. So that really opens up a world of possibilities now that you have, the tools in your hand to do that. All right, that was a side tangent there that I went off on there, but my purpose was to show you that Google Drive is a great storage here. This, I'll just explain to you what this is. We made this, last week, Elaine? Yeah. This is for, yes? Okay, to answer that, I'm going to go here in my Google Drive accounts. If it's a personally owned one, it's, I think, 15 or 20 gig. If it's a education management, it's maybe 40 gig. I bought more space, so my account has 96 gig, but I think you're given 20 gig or so for free, which really is plenty, especially if your workflow just involves at the end of the year, wipe that stuff out, create new room for the next year. So I don't think you'd run out of space that way. And it's really cheap too. If you need to buy more, you go to manage. Ours is set up where an individual teacher could say, yeah, I'm fine with paying $5 a month if I can get 100 gigabytes of storage. So the school district lets individual teachers do that if they want. So it's affordable. And this is comparable to Dropbox. Keep in mind the pricing here is actually better than Dropbox. But for some odd reason, it seems like on Apple devices, Dropbox tends to work a little bit more reliable than Google Drive. And that might be the wars between Apple versus Google somehow. I'm willing to bet money that in the future, Dropbox might get bought out by Apple. There might be some acquisition happening there, because it looks like Dropbox is more integrated in apps on Apple devices than Google Drive. But slowly and surely, Google is catching up, and I'm trying to just put everything in there and stick with that one option just to see how that works. So does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is explain this one here. So Elaine came to me with this project she had to do. Did you volunteer? You were chosen, or you were told you had to do this? For an upcoming board meeting, she had the challenge of making a presentation and including as many kids from the, kindergarten, second, first grade, preschool?
No, the whole preschool program in the district, district-wide. There's about 7 classes of preschoolers and more than 14 classes of what they love about preschool. Because, trying to work on the foundation piece of the program. And then we also got my staff members provided choose to work on that environment. So combining that through the mission of the school and then present the work.
And so the idea was to get photographs, because she has an iPhone, so she went around and took a picture of a child standing by a chalkboard, and on the chalkboard it said, what did it say, what were the words?
For early childhood program, I love the kids that say about that stuff. And kids from 2 years old up to 5 years old. And then the staff member is a class for early childhood program, I would choose, and they choose to deal with their role at school. Combining all these different things, we did a video clip of every staff member saying the mission statement, and then the pictures of students together. We actually had way too many pictures.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. She had.
For the movie really should have only been about 5 minutes. We narrowed it down to 6.5 because 21
Yeah, because roughly you're going to get about 10 photos per minute, and she said I got to make about a 5-minute video, but she came to me with like 170 photos. So I said, if you do the math on that, we're talking 12, 13 minutes for a video. And she said, no, it can't be that long. So we had to painstakingly go through and decide which child was not going to be put in the video. So we're kind of like looking for the ones that are smiling and, the ones that have an interesting thing, like I like the Play-Doh lab or something like that. We'd leave stuff like that in. So we narrowed it down. And this was a combination project between, we started in Videolicious, which is one of the next apps I'm going to talk about. And then we needed to put in specific music that had 2 different songs. And Videolicious only lets you do 1 song at a time. So we took the output of Videolicious, dumped it on the camera roll, and brought that into iMovie on the timeline. So we could line up those songs right where we wanted them to be. So this was a combination project. I'll show you the first couple moments of it here to get the idea of it. it starts out with the video clip of the staff members, right? And we wanted an opening graphic too.
We believe all people can learn. Schools are creating conditions for success, academically, socially, emotionally, physically, and aesthetically.
Now, I didn't get this at first, but they had each row was saying the words as they were going up. I almost wish I could have an arrow to indicate which row was talking. That was the way they did that. Yeah. And after this, it's just all photographs. This was the only video clip. Right.
Will be lifelong learners.
And they go fast. Now that transition is about 3 seconds in between. That is faster than you usually would go with. But again, we wanted to get as many kids in as we could. The traditional time is about 5 seconds per slide, but if we did that, then it would be kind of too long. So I'll show you what we did to customize that speed using the Videolicious app. So that was the premise behind that one. So we are back now on, oh, just a note for those of you advanced users out there, Pinnacle Studio by Corel is a competing product to iMovie. The cost is a bit higher. It is, I think, $12.99 or so. Here's the iTunes App Store page once it loads. It is, yeah, $12.99. Now this one allows you to do things more advanced that you can't do with iMovie. However, it's not recommended for the beginning or even the intermediate user. It's only the advanced user that needs to do very specific things. If you use Final Cut on a desktop and you're used to layering things and putting picture-in-picture in different ways, this would be the app for you to go with. It does crash more often because it really requires a lot of horsepower to run. So I would recommend only using it on like an iPad 4 or 5. But it is the competing product that's kind of the next level after iMovie for video production. On to my next app is called Coach's Eye. How many people have ever used Coach's Eye? Anybody out there? All right. The idea, the purpose of it, just from the app name itself, you're thinking, okay, we're talking phys ed here, sports related. Yes and no. It's a video analysis app for iOS and Android and now Windows 8 devices that allows you to play back video in slow and fast motion and draw on the screen, known as telestration, while you narrate. It's perfect for sports analysis or anything mechanic that you'd like to analyze. So I have my students showing the proper way to do a push-up, the right way to do a sit-up, how to hold a pen the right way, how to braid hair, you name it, how to play an instrument. Anything that would be more advantageous to watch in slow motion and have someone explain it to us is a good use for this app. So it could be, say, a science classroom, slow motion analysis of the Bunsen burner and seeing the little, what's that called, the meniscus in a test tube, seeing that. You could zoom in really close, draw on the screen. I like to think of, just the other day, watching a Sabres game, watching a hockey game where they slow motion show the puck going into the net and they go frame by frame and they might even draw on the screen. That is called telestration. So you can do telestration now over pre-recorded video and zoom, pinch and zoom and everything with the Coach's Eye app. So let's start with a product demo from, I'll try the YouTube link. This is Troy Stein. He's actually here from TechSmith in the exhibit hall booth. He's the guy that made this video. And I think it's a great intro. It's very sports themed, but just keep in mind the educational aspects beyond just phys ed.
Imagine if any moment can be a learning moment for an athlete. A way for them to really hone their skills and take their game to a whole new level. Imagine that they could view a video of themselves going through a drill or record in motion anytime, anywhere. Now picture you as a coach or parent being able to film and analyze video on the spot, wherever that spot may be, without expensive cameras or equipment. Coach's Eye is a revolutionary app that turns your iPhone into a powerful video analysis tool. It is capable of recording and critiquing an athlete's form and technique, frame by frame. So the next time there'll be no question about what you mean when you tell them to keep their eye on the ball. Coach's Eye lets an athlete know what they're doing well and how they can improve by showing them their activity along with their voice narration and telestration. That way they'll be sure to break the board and not the hand. So the next time you feel some advice coming on, grab your phone and Coach's Eye and be ready to make your point stick. Because whether it's for one of your players, your teammates, your golf league partner, or even one of your children, you will be amazed at how much better than play when they see themselves through coach's eyes.
All right, so if you go down to the exhibit hall Thursday or Friday, go stop by Tech Smith booth. See, when you see Troy, tell him, say, Rob Z sent me down to talk to you. He's a really awesome guy. He knows everything about what I'm showing you here, Coach's Eye, but a lot of the other iOS apps that they're developing for my afternoon workshop today for screencasting, Screen Chomp and Ask3, he's like the main product guy on that too. So when it comes to education, Troy's got the down low on that. So he showed a very specific example more to be sports themed, but again, think of all the other ways to do it. In a home economics class, career and life skills class, they do sewing in our school. A real great way to show slowly how that needle's going and how you have to hold your hands. The bandsaw, where to put your hands using the sander in the technology classroom. I could just keep going. There's so many different ways to use it in school to have kids analyze in slow motion the process of how something works. So here's a video of a student-made example, proper technique for sit-ups. I would tell the kids when they make them, first of all, they have to pick their topic and I have to approve it. So this kid came up to me and said, okay, I'm going to do how to do a sit-up. Because in phys ed class they talk about that.
Hi,
the right and wrong way to do it. And they have to include 3 things. Number 1, they have to have telestration, meaning there has to be some drawing on the screen so they can point out angles or lines or things like that. Number 2, there has to be zooming. So I want them to zoom in on an area of interest. I think here they show how the knees are. And then number 3, there has to be your voice. You have to be giving us that narration of what we should be paying attention to and what you're teaching us. So including those 3 elements in their telestration project, I leave it up to them to go out in the school somewhere, record something that we would benefit by seeing it in slow motion. So here's
Tell you how to have proper steps. So, first thing is your feet should be planted on the ground the whole time. You know you're done when your elbows touch your knees. Your legs should be at a 90-degree angle the whole time. And when you come down, your shoulder blades should touch the floor. That's when you know you're done. You can go up.
And now it's buffering.
Another one.
So that's the idea. I have a whole collection of them in our video projects area, which I think I give you guys somewhere. Oh yeah, right there. View more student samples. That'll take you right to a folder where you can check out and show other teachers here what our students have been doing. I only have 4 of them because I think I cleared it out from last year. I didn't run this project yet this year, so I have to still add them in as the school year goes on. So if you have this link and you check this back in a couple of months, you'll see there's more there because I'll keep dumping them there. And if you want my lesson plan, steal that from me because I stole stuff from other people too. This is my typical lesson plan format. Again, I'm a big Google Docs guy, so I like Google Docs because I can change my mind and change this document as much as I need to, and I never give it out on paper because then I have an old version of something sitting out there. So I have made, and this is what the afternoon class is about, screencasts of myself telling you what these steps are. So you hit the play button, this is a good one to show you. So it's time to learn the basics of the Coach's Eye app. Rather than me give a live demonstration to 1 or 2 kids when I have 20 or 30 some in the class, they go to the computer, they watch this video, or they watch it from home, and then they can see me teaching them, walking them through it by making a screencast. So this is my typical format for a lesson plan. This is the workflow. You get yourself all the way through it, and at the end, there's an evaluation piece tied to it. So feel free to use that as a model for making up a lesson plan that kind of follows the flipped classroom approach, where they can go to it at their own pace, both in class and outside of class, as long as they have access to the technology. Demonstrate workflow. All right, so let's show you a quick app demonstration of that. Back to the iPad, and we'll launch the Coach's Eye app. You know what? I don't know where it is, so I'm going to do the little shortcut here. I'll pull it down and type Coach's Eye. There it is. And this is the only one today I'm showing you that is available across platform, iOS, Android, and Windows 8 devices. And I haven't used it in a while, so that's probably why they're trying to get me to do something different here. Oh yeah, they've added some premium things. You can do a spotlight, you can draw angles that actually give the angle on screen. I just want to get past this, and a timer to use as well. I think that's an in-app purchase to get those extras. Okay. I got to find something that I have here already. What do I have? All right, we'll use the one with Owen here. Let's go to this, analyze. So I shot some video here of my son Owen swinging. This is an old one because he looks really little there. And clear that. Notice the gold scrubber at the bottom. I can go frame by frame, and you can see the path here. So he misses on that one, but then he goes again and he's got it. So I'm going to make a little screencast now, recording of this, using the tools on the left-hand side that you're seeing along here. Tools we have to use are rectangles or squares. We have circles, straight lines, squiggle lines with an arrow, squiggle lines without an arrow, and then the other optional features which you can see are in-app purchases, which are new to use. So I'm going to start my recording now. So at the top, I'll hit the record button right there. Hi everybody, I'm showing you an example today of Owen swinging the baseball bat. Now watch this, he misses it there, but notice the line that he's using. I'm going to draw it so you can see it, is down here. It's more of a diagonal line, but then wipe that out. The next time he does it, look at that line is straight. So if he could see that, it's more of a straight line, goes right across that way, and of course the ball flies off like that. So that's how you go frame by frame. I can even go in reverse again. If I want to play that clip full speed, I can. And you get the audio. You can even move it down to slow motion and then hit play and watch it go slow motion that way. And that's, it was echoey because I'm going in slow motion mode. See, on the bottom left-hand side there you have the little toggle. It turns slow on, so here it goes slow. But if I put it back to regular, it goes full speed. And also I like how you can use your fingers to pinch and zoom in. So if you want to see the moment of how that ball went, let's get back to that here, which the contact was made right there. So you can really zoom in close, you can draw, you can do all that stuff, and my voice right now is being recorded. So that's it, thanks for watching, bye-bye. Alright, so now we enter a title in, blah blah blah, done. And now, what's next? I go to Analyze. And this takes a little bit of time because it's compiling my voice with my drawings and my zooms and all of that, and it's making a finished product that then we can watch, dump it on the camera roll, put it on Facebook, tweet it out, whatever, and that's how you make a telestration style video. So it's pretty straightforward to make. I like it because it's a great tool to really break something down into steps and to look at it in slow motion. So in the interest of saving time, I'll exit out so you get the idea of that workflow. And let's take us back to here. Minimize. What's that? Yeah, I did the sit-up one. Yeah. Okay, so moving on because I want to make sure we have time for it. We're going to now move on to the Videolicious app. But before we do, I usually at the midpoint like to take a break. We're a little bit past that. Before we take a break, does anyone have any questions from anything I've shown you so far to cover? All right, so let's take maybe a 5-minute break. Restrooms are not really close by. They're that way. You just go to the end and go that way. And we'll come back in about maybe 5-7 minutes or so. Okay. And you never wear the microphone when you go to the restroom. I made that mistake.
My parents love it. They're the best thing ever. You always say, don't people know how to do this. And I was like, so what did you do? Let's say, oh, I'm not here. Oh, so the video. Thank you, Paul. It's probably empty.
Oh, really? What she called? She called you? What'd she say? Oh, really? Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Four 11. Yes.
The boom mill. Does that work really well?
It does. I haven't really used it because I don't have much need for a document camera, but the teachers that have used it, they said it's a great little stand. It's lightweight, it compacts down to just 3 pieces, and it holds it securely on top.
So then you could, if the kids all have their iPads, you could take a stand to their desk and they could use their iPad.
Yep. Yep. It seemed a pretty inventive idea. I mean, it's just really 3 pieces and it holds it up, but it works
Well, that's what
well.
I thought. I thought
Yeah.
of it when because it's like you can't use your document camera to show the iPad. And
Right.
Reflections don't work that way.
It holds it that way, and even this doesn't work that well. I could tip it down in that angle, but then you can't put the piece of paper underneath because the stand's there. So he solved that problem of having it like a round C shape kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty neat. Yes, you're welcome. Hey guys, what's our room number? Are we 331C? I think 331C. Okay.
Are they pretty sturdy? These right here?
Yeah, the iPivo perch. Yeah, very sturdy. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I
I've had
like
cheaper
that.
ones that didn't have as big of a base, and I would type hard on it and it would be wobbling around. This one's pretty nicely designed, so you can type nicely and it doesn't shake.
Because we're a K-2 school, and I've got iPads that I want to use for search stations and such, and to do some other things, and that's my fear is the flip factor.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
this is
Try to
pretty
hold
good. It
it.
holds it in nicely. It's like a clamshell, and just turn it to portrait mode and pull at the bottom to release it. But I like it. Yeah.
And then the Velcro strap that you talked about.
The handy holder.
Will
yeah.
it work? Does it have to be on one that doesn't have a case, or will it fit onto
Right, it
something
cannot
with
have a case, right? Because you're attaching it right to the body itself. You could use the smart cover, which I have for this, because it doesn't go on the back, but you kind of have to have the back exposed.
Okay.
I think. I don't know if it would.
Because we're K-2, and my second graders do ITV.
Okay.
I'd like to get them out.
Sure.
Some things we do green screen and all of that, but I was like, just put them out.
Yeah.
You got to think about the drop factor and all
Right.
that with the little ones.
Soon I'm going to have iPad minis. My schools have purchased them, and I'm going to be using iPad minis instead of iPod touches to do video production. And I don't know if I'm going to use a case. I want to try to use them without a case to see, but I don't know. If it's not going to be safe, I'll have to put them in something to keep them.
Right, that's why I was just wondering if they had to have it, because I like that it has that little feature.
Yeah,
Because right now, I
and
mean,
it
I have
swivels,
a
yeah.
hand cam that I just bought that they could take out or whatever, but it'd just be nice to be able to kind of
Yeah.
have it already on there and have to go and move it somewhere else and then
That's
go
right.
into it. It'd all be right there together. That's
Yep.
cool though, I like that.
Yes, thank you. Do you guys know it's our room number 331C?
Yeah.
Okay, 331. I texted Troy to see if he'll step up here. Because I said we should. Maybe you weren't here. I showed the Coach's Eye video. I want him to be able to talk about some of the new stuff with that too. All right, everybody back? Can we get rolling again? All right, the next step I'm going to show you guys is the last step, and I saved the best for last. I really like the Videolicious app. In fact, at ISTE in, where was it last year? San Antonio, I presented a full 2-hour session just on the Videolicious app because it can do so many things there. And in fact, I think this year in Atlanta they chose that also. They're presenting on Videolicious at ISTE. So this one is a free app, but paid upgrades are available. So let me click on paid upgrades so you know the scoop on it before we jump into it. The free version of the app lets you make video productions up to 60 seconds in length. So that can be okay for some cases, but if you need a longer video, then you're kind of stuck. You can also choose up to 10 shots per video. When I say shots, that means photos and or videos. Yes? It does not have ads. It's not sponsored by ads. So 60 seconds max, 10 shots max. That's your limitation by having the free version. if you decide to go bigger, and now they don't have them on the site yet, but they're working on a K-12 enterprise pricing, but right now they have small business pricing. Here's the free version. For $5 a month, you can get more features. This is the plan that I have. You get 10 minutes in length maximum, up to 100 shots per video, and that brings us back to Elaine's example. We had 130 some stuff, so we thought, how are we going to do it? Well, we just made 2 videos. One had 100, the other one had 30, and then we blended them together. So there's ways to get around that if you need to make something longer than that by making them in segments. And then the video storage, this app actually is a creation tool and an online hosting storage tool built into one. It's kind of a YouTube back-end-ish feature and an app that produces tied together. So it is good for schools because then it's really easy to move stuff around. You can do other stuff like add in logos. There'll be no branding on the video pages. It won't say Videolicious on it in case you're using it in a corporate environment. And you get 60 music choices to pick from instead of 9 that you get with the free account. So there are some advantages there. I recommend this plan. I actually just bought it for $5 a month, which is $60 a year. And I was having all of my 170 some students each semester use it. They just log in with the same credentials. However, I did not give them the password. I would have them, if it was a student-owned device, I'd say, okay, give it to me. I put in the password. And if it's a school-owned device, I just put the password in before they get it. So nobody knows what the password is. That way they can't log in and then suddenly rearrange files and delete files and stuff. But it was one account that I could then go to and have access to all the stuff they make. And the beauty of this is, a lot of them have iPod touches. So they're at home, they're at a friend's house, they're making videos. All they have to do is just simply make them and hit finish in the app. Then it uploads them to the cloud in the hosted storage. Then I have access to it. So I can see all the new stuff coming in one collected place, which is like a dashboard for me. So that I can pick and choose the ones that I want to use on the morning show. So it is a nice 2-in-1 kind of product. It's hosting and production all tied together. So that's what we have with the paid versus free options. And the purpose, built around step-by-step wizards that lead you through the assembly process, create the basics from narrated slideshows to advanced newscaster-style videos using your pictures and videos. So we got some demos on the Videolicious website. I'll show you maybe one of them. These are not really education examples because this is used by real estate people, by entrepreneurs, by self-owned businesses, anybody that wants to make a really good video. The one I like is the how-to video. This is a girl made this for her company to feature this, all straight from an iPhone. Just as an example of what you can make.
Hi, I'm Carrie, and today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect burger at home using Bell's Hills Worcestershire sauce. There's 3 components to the burger. The first is the sauce. So we'll use a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, a teaspoon of ketchup for sweetness and color, and a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce. We'll mix that up, put it in the fridge, and we'll let that chill while we do our next component. The next component is the burger itself. So we have 1 pound of grass-fed lean beef.
All right, I'm going to pause it there. To get the idea, she was blending in video clips that she took beforehand along with her narrated story. And sometimes you'd see her, and sometimes you'd see the video clips. The video clips, anybody know what that's called in industry speak? What was that footage called? Anybody know? Anybody hear of B-roll footage? So that's your B-roll footage. Your B-roll footage is the stuff that you're seeing when you're not seeing the main person, which is known as the A-roll, talking. So in newscaster stories, usually in the beginning you see the newscaster, and in the end you see them. But throughout there, you're seeing the B-roll footage. So in terms of being a storyteller, the first thing you have to do, in my mind, is come up with your script, or at least an outline, minimally, of what you want to do. So that's the workflow. Kids come up with a script, or an outline, show that to me. Then I say, okay, you're good to go shoot your B-roll. And they get to figure out, well, what should I take? Should I take a video, or should I take a photo? Should I get wide, medium, or tight shots? So we talk about shot composition at that point. And so they figure out, what does it mean to be a good visual storyteller? And they take a whole variety of random clips. Then they actually make the production and choose which clips they're going to use. So that's the kind of workflow that we follow, and I'm going to demonstrate that workflow here too. So you saw a sample one made from a commercial website, some teacher-made samples. Here's one that I made with a combination of mostly Videolicious, but a little of iMovie in here just to get the opening graphic put in. This is another workshop I teach too on Edmodo.
this is Rob Z of robztraining.com. And today I want to talk about the progress bars in Edmodo. In my classroom, I have a procedure. At the beginning of class, kids come in and log right into Edmodo, and they pull up these progress bars, which are a visual indicator of where they're at in the course. Since I run a differentiated classroom, every student's working on a project, but not always the same project at the same time. So this way, it gives them kind of a refresher at the beginning of class to see what was turned in, what wasn't turned in, what feedback did the teacher give me, and so forth. So I really like this now because I feel like the students have ownership of their own progress, and they can keep track, keep themselves updated each day, and the parents too, because the parents have the ability to check their Edmodo accounts too. Before this existed, before Edmodo, I couldn't do this. I simply had a paper gradebook sitting on my desk. Kids would have to come up and say, what project am I on? What should I be working on next? Can I redo that? And now I feel like with Edmodo, this tool lets me manage things much, much more efficiently. And nobody gets any surprises at the end of the rotation. Everybody's always kept up to date on their progress. So I feel like this really empowers the students in more of a project-based learning classroom, I guess you could say, is what I'm running here, through the use of a tool like Edmodo. So that's my blog post for today. If you're interested in seeing more, my blog is robz.
All right, so I made that with this little stand right here, having this on my desk. As you saw, I was holding the microphone, and I was just looking at myself on the screen right there talking. Now, as I was talking, in the corner of the screen, I was tapping, like I need that shot, that shot. I preloaded in the shots that I wanted to go, and I was tapping them as I was ready to advance. So it's a little bit hectic because you're doing like two things at once. You're telling your story, and you're deciding when to move on. But there are ways around that. You could pre-record your story, import that in instead of performing it live. And I'll show you those differences when we demonstrate the app. So that was, and because I wanted the lower third image in there, and I wanted the opening and closing graphic, I chose to use iMovie to do that part of it. So that just goes to show you, you can use multiple apps to accomplish what you want to do quite nicely on the iOS devices. So, some student-made project samples. Let's see, I don't have to show you all these here, but if we go with maybe the digital storytelling project. See if I remember which one this is. Okay, yeah, this was end of the rotation. The student had to show us what they liked most, and Ben really liked the podcasting project. So this is probably, yeah, let me let it preload there. So Ben's going to talk, he's going to give us a digital story about what it takes to make a podcast project in my class. I use this in kind of like in place of a final exam. I say, pick whatever project you liked, convey to us what parts you liked the most about it, and what you would do differently if you could do it again. And so they use the Videolicious app to make their digital stories like this. So I think I'm far enough ahead. Let's try.
Story about growing the podcast. Here are all the kids' creative wonderful projects in this room. In particular, here is Duncan. He is reading the directions to record a podcast.
Yeah, it's going to stop, so I don't think I can show that one. But the link is there. You can check these out if you guys are interested in seeing them. Other ones we have is Word of the Week. We have featured. We do that for our principal really wanted us to feature those words that are teaching academic vocabulary this year is a big push. So we use the iPad to make those videos. Our Life at Amherst Middle music videos. This one is one of our fan favorites out there. The kids get to take pictures of stuff around the school. And the theory is, what are you going to remember about Amherst Middle School? What makes it unique? So we talk about shots you take that are unique. If it's a shot like this, kids walking in a hallway, that could be any middle school in the entire world. That's not that unique. But if it's something specific, like out front they have a special ribbon thing in their landscaping thing, or they have teachers that are doing funny things with students, or science experiments, things like that, they start realizing as a digital producer what would tell the story best about our school that makes us different from other schools. So they have to go out and shoot 10 shots, and I let them choose photos or videos or both, and then blend them together with music, and these serve as our opening and our closing to our morning shows every day. So I use 2 of them, I use 10 per week, so we go through a lot of them. So I don't really have any specific one in mind to show you. Let me just go with, maybe I'll go with Charlie's here. He's in my home base. And let's see if this plays okay. And they can pick the music too, so I don't know what he chose here. But. I thought that was an interesting perspective shot. So. So the idea is a 60-second video. We open our show and close our show with a different one each day. And at the bottom we say produced by, first name, last name. So the kid gets a little bit of credit for doing that in front of the whole school. And as you can see, we have hundreds of them. The list will keep on growing because this is a big project we do. You can check out any or all of them there and see the variety. And again, I let the kids use copyrighted music because we're following fair use by not including the whole song. And I do make sure we do a lyric check too, because I want to make sure that there's no hidden lyrics that we're not getting past. So if they choose to use them with lyrics, they have to do an additional step and do a lyric check with me. And that's how we do that. This or that is our video survey project. That's where, Pepsi versus Coke, they just hold up a sign which one they choose. So that's a way to feature as many faces as we can from our building in our morning show by doing that. And Proud Moments in History is a new one I did, tied in with the Social Studies department. We just finished this one off last week, and we had some pretty decent ones in there. A lot of these were American inventions, some of them were world inventions, and they talked about how when this happened in the past is connected to the future. So how when Google was created, how it evolved, and what we can do with it now, and how the world has changed and things like that. I had them pick an adult mentor to work with. Some of them chose a parent, some of them chose teachers, so that we had someone besides me in the room giving an outsider's perspective, looking at their script and saying, yeah, that makes sense, or that's confusing to me, why don't you change this or whatnot. So that was a new piece I added in. I like that. I like having another adult besides just me being the adult mentor, helping them with the script writing of that project. All of my lesson plans for those above projects are listed here. If you're interested, you can check those out and use them. And then now let's do some workflow demonstrations here. So we have the basic to the advanced. Starting with the basic, music only, no camera or narration. Let's start there first. Now, when I demonstrate off of the Videolicious app, it does sometimes crash my Air server, but I can usually relaunch it. So let's see if it does it. So it looks like that one up in the corner there, upper right-hand corner, Videolicious. And I'll use it without being logged in. I'll do it from the free point of view, so you can see what it totally, yeah, see I'm logged in because it says my video's up there. If I go to here, this will be projects that I've made yesterday. Waiting at the airport was one. All the passwords are saved in here. They'll load up in a moment once the Wi-Fi catches up. So it stores everything you make right inside the app, which is kind of convenient. So I will go here to my account and I'll say sign out. Sign out, yes. So we're using it as a brand new user without having an account. Now you can sign in and make an account for free still. There are some slight advantages there because then they'll let you publish out in high def mode, 720p, instead of standard definition, which is 360p. So there is a slight advantage to signing in with a free account just to get that little added bonus there. But I'll use it completely not logged in. So step one of our 3 steps is to select the videos and photos that you would like to include in your movie. So I will say choose shots. And by the way, this works equally as well on an iPhone or an iPod Touch. That's mostly what I use because that's the device I have on me at all times. So it works in both interfaces nicely. Now you could choose from your camera roll or any pre-selected albums. I have my students reuse the same school-owned devices 5 periods a day times A and B days, so there's 10 periods actually. So a lot of kids use them. Rather than have a camera roll full of hundreds and hundreds of shots, I tell them outside of this app, in the camera roll app, make an album, title it with your name, and throw your stuff in there. So when they get to this stage, they can pick the one that says Johnny Smith instead of looking in the camera roll where everything is stored. So that's just a little helpful tip there that'll help you narrow some things down. So I shall go to the camera roll. I think I've got pictures of my son in here, and this is going to be a random show. I'll just have random stuff that the life of Rob Z. That'll be my topic of my story. So we have, you can see time code shows up if it's a video. If it's a photo, there is no time code showing up. I can select up to 10 shots because I'm using it as the free unlogged in version. So first I want to show you a picture of Owen at Wendy's, and then I'll talk about Owen and Oakley shopping for glasses, and then another shot of Owen and Oakley, and then at the playground, and then the little dog he takes home, and then going to the grocery store, and then in the car. And you can see as I chose them, it might be hard to see because of the projector, but they're numbered. And that's important because that's the order that I'm going to tell the story in. So that helps me to lay out my workflow here. Some options that you now have is down in the bottom, you have an edit button. This works to do, I'll hit edit and I'll choose one of my video clips. Now this allows you to trim right within the app. So maybe when I play this clip, I don't want the first couple of seconds there. I can manually drag this and say, let's make that the starting point and let's make that the ending point. And if you see, it's kind of, well, it's hard to see there. You can go frame by frame. There's some arrows there. So you can go piece by piece and find just the right millisecond of time that you want. And now that segment is going to be used instead of the whole clip when I hit save. And you'll know that that was done because I believe it will be, it's kind of a whitish border around with the green on there. So unselect it, you'll probably see it. Yeah, so it's a white border indicating that it's been modified. If I take a photograph, I'll take this one here, hit edit, hit that photo. Now you have the ability to pinch and zoom. So maybe in this shot, I want to get really close on Owen's face, so I can bring it down like this instead. So now that would show up instead of the whole image. So that's kind of convenient because sometimes you want to crop stuff out or feature certain things in a shot when you pick it. So I've chosen, 8 shots? I'm going to leave it there. Actually, no, I want to get some video in here too, just so it makes sense. I'll deselect a few things. I'll pull in a video shot. Again, it'll be kind of random. And, okay, good. So now I have a mix of photos and videos for my shots, and it tells me I have 8 at the bottom there. I'm good to go. I'm going to save it and move on to our next step. Step 2, you've got lots of options here. Actually, I lied in the beginning. This is not a basic one. I'm showing you an advanced one. I'm taking it to the high level, and I'll work it backwards from there because this is fully featured if I do it this way. So in step 2, film yourself and talk about the videos and photos in your movie. If you are camera shy, you could turn off the camera. I'll show you because it loads up the camera. The live camera's going now. You could hit that button up top right there, and now it is in microphone only mode, so you're just doing a voiceover. Or if you're not camera shy, but you already recorded your speech to maybe be less stressful to have to perform it live, I could hit import at the top, and it'll go to my camera roll and say, all right, pick the shot that you recorded of yourself, and we'll use that in place of a live presentation. So I'm actually just going to, I don't have anything selected or made already, so I'll just do a live shot. You can use front or back camera, and notice you have this image down here. It's showing you the microphone. So I'm just using the built-in mic for simplicity's sake. You want to frame your shot accordingly. Be aware of what's behind you here, not too much bright light behind you. And I'm going to start recording on me, and then I'm going to transition to the shots and explain what you're seeing. So here we go. It might not catch, it'll be with us too. Hi everybody, it's Rob Z, and today I'm going to show you things in the life of Rob Z. First of all, we'll take a look at Owen here. You can see he's at Wendy's after his preschool day. Now you're seeing a shot of my daughter Oakley and Owen, and here they are shopping for glasses. So here I'm showing you how you can come back to the camera, and I'm just saying hello. Now let's go back to more pictures. And here now you're seeing Oakley and Owen sitting in the living room. Owen is doing something there. I can't really see because the picture's small, but that's him. And then here we have Owen in his car seat, bringing home the little dog they bring from preschool. And that's kind of a nice thing they do in preschool, is they have a different kid bring it home and they write about the adventures of it, so it kind of gets them used to writing. And now back to our pictures, you'll see that Owen is shopping at Tops. And this I brought in just to show you a video clip showing you here how the music will change when that comes up. And we'll end with a video clip of Oakley swinging the baseball bat. And then back to me, and you can see in the upper corner right here, I'm almost out of time, so I have to finish within the next 4 seconds. So this has been my video, and thank you for watching. And it stops there. It runs out of time. You get 1 minute maximum, because remember, I didn't log in. I'm using the free version of the app. It stops it at 1 minute. So now it is creating the preview, and we can watch it without any music involved.
Hi everybody.
It'll be choppy because I'm doing it through the wireless.
I'll show you things in the life of Rob Z. First of all, we'll take a look at Owen here. You can see he's at Wendy's after his preschool day. Now you're seeing a shot of my daughter Oakley and Owen, and here they are shopping.
All right, we'll preview it with the music. I just want to move on so we save time. So we save it, and step 2 is done. Now step 3 is the final step. Choose one song to enhance your movie. Remember the app I showed you earlier on, though, the free MP3 for YouTube app. If I chose that I wanted to go down that road, I would just choose to skip this step right there, skip altogether, and therefore I'm not scoring my production. I'm not putting any music in with it. But just to show you how the app works, I'll go ahead and choose the music. They have 9 built-in songs, I believe. You can see theme music. There's 9 there. If you have music on your iOS device, that will also be includable or choosable, so you could choose from that as well. So I'll go to theme music, just show you some examples here. Different genres of music. Let's say that one. All right, this feature is new. I requested this feature to the app developer, and he put it in here.
Hi everybody,
this is more music, less voice.
First of all, we'll take a look at
and more voice, less music.
Wendy's.
So you got to find the happy medium.
Now you're seeing a shot of my daughter Oakley, and here they are shopping for
somewhere about there, I think is good. So I was able to blend, because sometimes you're far away from the device and your voice is quiet, and other times you're up close and it's really loud. So I asked the app developer, his name is Matt Singer, and he likes taking user requests right in the app as a submit feedback thing, and they build in it all the time. Version 2 is what we're looking at here, is much different from version 1. And I would say not too long from now, probably is going to be version 3 coming out, because this one's been out for quite a bit. So you can add filters, meaning edges around, see how just the edges change. Give yourself a tan if you want to, like that. But it's just kind of a little gimmicky thing. I'll just leave it as no filter. So here's what the finished production with the music now looks and sounds like.
Hi everybody, it's Rob Z. Today I'm going to show you things in the life of Rob Z. First of all, let's take a look at Owen. You can see he's at Wendy's after his preschool day. Now you're seeing a shot of my daughter Oakley and Owen, and here they are shopping for glasses. So here I'm showing you how you can come back to the camera, and I'm just saying hello. And let's go back to more pictures. And here now you're seeing Oakley and Owen sitting in the living room. Owen is doing something there. I can't really see because the picture's small. That's him. And then here we have Owen in his car seat, bringing home the little dog they bring from preschool. And that's kind of a nice thing I do in preschool, is they have a different kid bring it home and write about the adventures of it, so it kind of gets them used to writing. And now back to our pictures, you'll see that Owen is shopping on tops. And this I brought in just to show you a video clip showing you here how the music will change when that comes up. And we'll end with a video clip of Oakley swinging the baseball bat. And then back to me, you can see in the upper corner right here, I'm almost out of time, so I have to finish within the next 4 seconds. So this has been my video, and thank you for watching.
And the branding goes on the end there too if you're using the free version of it. So that's the workflow of making I call it a level 3 video, the advanced one that involves microphones, B-roll footage, music, all of that blended together. When you're done, you just hit save, and notice it lets you choose which size. If you want high definition though, you have to be logged in, so that's a limitation there. So I'll just pick standard definition. Now these are your sharing options. You can give it a title, and you can send it out to one or all, or pick and choose which services you want it to go to. If you don't pick any, which I'll do that now, and just hit save, it processes it, and by default it always puts it on the camera roll. And that I like, because when stuff's on the camera roll, then you can bring it into iMovie, and you can bring it into the Edmodo app, bring it into the Google Drive app. You have many options once it's there in the camera roll. And you can see it goes pretty quickly. It's going to depend on the model of iPad that you have. This is an iPad 3, so it's a little bit sluggish, but if you have newer iPads, you'll see that progress bar just jump right through it. My iPhone 5 goes much quicker when it processes video like that. And now it's there in the My Videos area to watch, but I'll prove it to you if I exit out of the app and go to the camera roll. It's going to be the most recent object in the camera roll, and there it is right there at the bottom. It's 102. So the maximum you can make it is 1 minute, and then they add the 2-second logo at the end if you're using just the free version. All right, so let me get back and see where I was going to show you guys next. The different levels. That I could just do real quickly here. It's basically leaving out step 2. So in the example we did with Elaine's Board of Education video, get back to it here, double tap. We had a bunch of new video. We had a bunch of photos and videos to combine. So in step 1, we chose the shots. We went to the camera roll, and again we just picked a video clip she had first, and then a series of pictures, like so. And we had it. We were logged in, so we were able to use more than 10 shots. Then we hit save. We did not. How did we do that? Did we skip it? No, I don't think we could skip it because we had to time them out. We wanted to go like 3 seconds, like real quick hitters between. So I think we did tell your story. And then that's what we did. We turned off the camera, right? And then we hit record. And then we counted it out. So we went like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stop. So we did that for like 100-some pictures. Yeah, it did crash. Yeah. It's recommended that you don't push it to the limits and go with 100 shots. I think we ended up doing like 60 and then 60 and then 20, just keep it smaller. So now that we had this, it doesn't matter that you hear me talking because we didn't use the audio. We then went to save. And in step 3, what did we do? We skipped it because we used iMovie for that. And then just produced it, saved it. Like that, saved it out to the camera roll. And then once in the camera roll, we brought it into iMovie, dropped it on the timeline, and then deleted the audio track so that wasn't there. And then brought in the 2 songs we had. We had a Van Halen Right Here, Right Now, right song? Is that right? And then the other one was, yeah, Forever Young, Rod Stewart. So we blended those 2 songs together. We were able to pick the midpoint and find where that was and then start the second one right at that midpoint. And then that's how we were able to produce that video. So that was a combination together. Because you could do that, you might be thinking, why not just do it all in iMovie? When you drag stuff on the timeline in iMovie, the default is 6 seconds for an image. Now, I didn't want to have to do that 100-some times to drop it at 6 seconds, now trim it, okay, do the next one, trim it. That just seemed to be too tedious. It was quicker for me to use this app and just count to 3, tap, count to 3, tap, and make it that way. So it's, well, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There's 2 different workflows to go through. But that was our way of getting them shorter than the traditional amount of time per clip. Making a basic slideshow would be very similar. You just basically skip step 2 altogether. You don't even have to have that. You can just assemble step 1 of choosing your shots and step 3 of putting music on it, and you're done. And you put together a video slideshow. If it's a still photo, it adds what's called the Ken Burns effect. It'll add panning and zooming, but you cannot choose where that is. The only thing you can choose is how the zoom in or out of the shot. You can't choose which direction it goes. And sometimes that's a problem because people have words on the screen and they need them to show up, and it ends up like missing those words and sliding away. So in some rare cases, that's a little bit of a hassle, but in most cases, it's a good feature because it's very simplified, and kids can make slideshows very easily. All right, any questions on the Videolicious app or workflow for the next thing? All right, I'm trying to leave a little bit of time at the end here for you guys to just play so the 3 of us can circulate around and answer questions and get more specific like that. And that's actually where we're at right now in the workflow. So we're going to do that for about the next 20-25 minutes or so. And then at the end, hang around so you can finish the survey. And we do have 2 prizes to give out. The prizes are complimentary copies of Snagit software, which is really my next workshop, what I'm teaching, but it's a software product that you use to record your screen. Similar to what I'm doing right now, I'm recording the screen the whole time we've been here so that I can put that on the web for people to watch afterwards. So we have 2 copies of that as prizes. So any last minute questions before we go to work time? All right, we'll circulate around and help you guys, and if you want to see anything specific, you can come up here and check out some of the equipment too.